A deep, thunderous blast echoed from outside the aircraft's body. A jagged streak of bluish-purple lightning tore across the Atlantic night sky. Inside the first-class cabin of the Gulfstream G650, where everything was supposed to feel as serene as a five-star hotel, chaos erupted. Champagne glasses shattered on the floor. The lights flickered wildly. The sharp scent of ionized air blended with the rich aroma of expensive leather. Maya Washington clung tightly to the armrest as the plane shook so violently it felt like it might break apart. Her silver-gray hoodie from Target looked hopelessly out of place among tailored suits and crocodile leather handbags. A violent jolt and then a chilling silence. Maya felt as if she had been lifted off the ground, suspended in a weightless second. "We've lost an engine," a flight attendant screamed from the cockpit. "Prepare for emergency landing," while passengers around her shrieked across the aisle. Julian Vance, the silver-haired man with piercing eyes and the aura of authority, suddenly collapsed. No cry of pain, just a sharp gasp, and then he dropped like a tree felled in one swift cut. Sir Maya shouted, leaping up, stumbling through the turbulence. Julian lay on his side, one hand clutched to his chest, the other reaching toward Maya. Not for help, more like he was trying to give her something. His lips moved, his eyes wide with panic. "Maya." She froze. "How do you know my name?" A small object rolled from his hand, landing on the cabin floor with a sharp metallic clink. Maya bent down and picked it up. It was a silver key, oddly shaped like a tangle of constellations woven together. In the flickering light, she noticed the etched grooves, glowing faintly as if the metal itself were alive. "Orion," Julian whispered, a rasping, urgent breath like a dying man's final message. Then he went limp. "You, sit down now." The flight attendant's shout sliced through Maya's panic. She shoved the key into her hoodie pocket and rushed to Julian's side. Her head was spinning, but her hands moved, guided by what she'd seen on YouTube. "Roll him to the side check for breath start compressions." The first few pushes almost made her cry, not from fear, but from the crushing realization that her small hands couldn't even make his chest rise. But she kept going. Her trembling eyes never left his face. No one noticed the girl in the chaos. No one saw a young black kid trying to keep a powerful white man alive. It was just her and the cold, silent key present in the heart of the storm. And the sky still roared as if trying to rip the world in two. 3 days earlier, South Side Chicago. The blare of a city bus and old-school music drifting from a radio filtered through the cracked third-floor apartment window. Maya Washington crouched over an old laptop, the screen's glow reflecting off her slightly scratched round glasses. Lines of code scrolled across the display. She had just finished writing a small program to help the local community library organize its rare book collection. Not for money, she just couldn't stand disorder. "What are you working on now?" Genius Nana Rose's voice came from the kitchen, where her calloused hands were busy peeling apples and preparing Maya's favorite dessert, caramel apple pie. "Just tweaking a few lines of code," Maya replied, without looking up. "I think I can rebuild their search algorithm." "You're 12 years old, Maya. Lord have mercy." Nana shook her head, laughing, though something faintly uneasy lingered in her tone. And then everything changed in a moment. The doorbell rang. A heavy cream-colored envelope, sealed with red wax, bearing a 6-pointed star. The mail carrier didn't wait for a signature, just placed it in Nana's hands and left. Inside was a short, neatly printed letter on thick, embossed paper. "We request the presence of Maya Washington in Geneva, Switzerland, regarding a matter of urgent and confidential family concern. No mention of inheritance, no promises." But the last line made both of them freeze. We are aware of the star-shaped scar on your left shoulder. Maya instinctively touched her shoulder. That scar, Nana once said it came from a fall when she was 3, was something no one outside their family had ever known. Nana Rose sank into a chair, gripping the letter tightly. Her face had gone pale as paper. You can't go. That world isn't made for us, baby. It'll swallow you whole. But if they know about this... Maya hesitated. Then who are they 3 days later? A flight from JFK to Geneva. Maya sat quietly in first class, wearing her grey hoodie and worn sneakers dwarfed by the plush leather seats and gleaming interior. Across from her sat Julian Vance's silver hair, stern face. No words passed between them. He read a hardcover book about constellations. Maya glimpsed the open page, Orion. Suddenly the book slipped from his hands. Maya leaned down to pick it up. You like the stars? Julian asked, his voice hoarse but deep. I like the stories they tell, Maya replied. He nodded, something flickering in his eyes. A shadow of guilt, maybe. Then he turned away, silent again. For the rest of the flight, Julian neither ate, nor slept, nor worked. He just sat there, fingers constantly toying with the strange silver key, as if letting it go might cause him to disappear. Maya stole a glance at him, and for the first time felt herself being pulled into a story she hadn't asked to be part of. A long, screeching break tore through the air like it was splitting her thoughts in half. The plane's wheels slammed into the ground with a violent tremble. White smoke billowed from the wings. Outside the window, the sky was nothing but a thick grey curtain of fog. The Gulfstream G650 had made an emergency landing at Gander, a small airport tucked deep in the frozen expanse of Newfoundland. The chaos had faded. In its place was the suffocating stillness of cold, so sharp it seemed to slice through skin. Maya stepped down the metal stairs, trembling not just from the snow-laced wind. She clutched the Orion key inside her hoodie pocket, feeling the chill of the metal seep straight through the fabric. Julian Vance had already been stretchered away, his face pale, an oxygen mask covering his mouth and nose. Maya watched him disappear into the white, feeling like she'd just witnessed the collapse of a world she didn't even understand. Inside a special waiting area, Maya and Nana Rose sat wrapped in thin blankets, huddled near a heater. Snow continued falling in silence outside, so white it didn't look real. Maya Washington, a middle-aged man, approached. Charcoal grey suit, navy blue tie, a voice soft as drizzle, and eyes sharp as ice. I'm Dubois, legal representative of Mr. Vance. We've been prepared for the worst. The worst? Nana tightened her grip on Maya's shoulder. He knew he might not make it. Dubois pulled out an iPad. He left a personal message. For Maya. The room fell completely silent. Maya took the device. The screen lit up, and there was Julian's face. Not the cold, powerful man she'd seen on the plane, but someone else. A father, worn and tired. Behind him hung a painting of the Orion constellation, and the lighting in the room was dim like the final light before sunset. If you're watching this, it means I failed to say it in person. His voice shook slightly, but each word was deliberate. Maya, I am your biological father. Nana Rose dropped her teacup. Maya couldn't speak. Julian went on, as if he knew she wouldn't believe him. I met your mother, Elena, many years ago. She was a brilliant coder. We fell in love. But my world and my father-in-law wouldn't allow it. He threatened to destroy Elena unless I disappeared from both of your lives. He paused. And Marcus, the man you've called your father, was a good man. A truly good man. I didn't hire him to play that role. I believed he'd protect you like his own. I never imagined He'd become a real father in every way that mattered. The video ended, but inside Maya's mind, everything was spinning faster than the storm above the clouds. The key in her pocket suddenly felt heavier, like a shard of truth she could no longer avoid. A 12-year-old girl who had just watched one father collapse, only to discover another still alive but already slipping away. Maya sat still before the screen, her cold hands resting on her lap. Julian's voice continued in the video like a ghost, pulled from the past, dragging layers of secrets behind him. "You once asked why your mother never spoke about your father," he said, staring directly into the lens. "It's because she couldn't. Because she's still alive. Inside the shadows I was forced to create." The video cut to a different clip, grainy, yellowed the jitter of handheld footage. A woman with dark hair and bright eyes sat at a desk, typing at an incredible speed. Elena, Maya's mother. Julian's voice softened. She created an encryption system that could change the world, a tech platform for charitable transactions, immune to manipulation. That's when my father-in-law, Richard Thorne, stepped in. The image shifted again, cutting to an old news broadcast about a warehouse fire in Chicago. The anchor reported one firefighter lost his life trying to rescue two people inside. "Marcus wasn't a firefighter," Julian whispered. "He was a former special ops. I trusted him, not just for his skills, but for his heart." Another clip, Marcus, holding toddler Maya, teaching her how to ride a bike on the sidewalks of Southside Chicago, laughing in the warm afternoon sun. "He wasn't pretending. He loved you, and he loved your mother. When I saw that, I didn't feel jealous, Maya. I felt peace. I knew I had made the right choice, giving you to someone better than me." Julian bowed his head, as if confessing to sins only now being acknowledged. But Richard didn't stop. When he found out Marcus was investigating his files, Richard acted. His voice caught. "That wasn't an accident. It was a warning." Maya gripped the key tightly in her hand. "Orion," Julian continued, "is not just a keepsake. It's the physical and biometric key to an encrypted system holding all of my assets, a trust fund called the Orion Initiative." He raised his head, eyes glowing with conviction. "You're the only one who can open it, because I built the recognition system using your DNA." The screen went dark. Silence filled the room, broken only by the whistling wind outside the airport windows. Dubois sat across from her, not trying to comfort or convince. He simply said, "You are the heir, but not to wealth, to a legacy. And that legacy is under threat." Nana Rose stood abruptly. "We don't want anything from the Thorne family. We just want to be left alone." Dubois slowly shook his head. "It's too late, ma'am. They were watching long before she boarded that plane." Maya turned toward the frost-covered window, snow still falling in quiet flurries. She didn't know what Geneva held for her, but one thing was clear. She was no longer just a regular girl, and no one, not even Richard Thorne, was going to make her back down. One day later, the private jet touched down at Geneva Airport under a pale, washed-out sun. Snow had melted into thin puddles across the tarmac, reflecting a sky of muted silver. From the backseat of the limo, Maya gazed out at the city, the stately old buildings, the deep blue lake, the quiet kind of luxury that felt alien to her. The hotel they were taken to looked like nothing Maya had ever seen. Soaring ceilings, glittering crystal chandeliers, everything whispering cold, expensive elegance. She sat on a leather chair, legs swinging, feeling like she had wandered into a world that had no place for someone like her. Mr. Dubois powered on his tablet. "You need to understand what you're holding." The screen displayed a 3D model networks of glowing threads connecting locations across the globe. "The Orion Initiative is a trust, Julian Vance, built in secret over the past 15 years. It funds free education in Haiti, clean water in East Africa, solar tech in rural India. Each glowing point on the map was a promise, a lifeline, a step toward redemption. It's also a direct challenge to Thorn Energy, the corporation destroying ecosystems and rigging politics worldwide. Dubois said, his voice no longer polite. Julian used to be part of it. Now he wants to make things right. Maya stared at the map, transfixed. And I'm supposed to run it? Exactly. You're not just the heir, you are the living key. A knock at the door. A hotel staff member delivered a sealed envelope, no name, no return address. Dubois opened it. His expression darkened. They know we're here. Julian's brother-in-law. His name was Damien Thorn, the current CEO of Thorn Energy. A man even more dangerous, more ruthless than his father. Maya glanced at the TV screen. A news broadcast showed Damien giving a keynote at an energy conference, his smile perfect, but his eyes empty. We're being watched, Dubois said. I'm moving you both to a safer location. That night, despite the opulence around her, Maya couldn't sleep. She felt eyes watching from the shadows, every car slowing down on the street below, making her heart race. The Orion key lay under her pillow, cold as stone, sacred and dangerous all at once. Nana Rose sat beside her bed, holding Maya's hand. I can't stop you from stepping into this world anymore, can I? Maya shook her head gently. Then remember this, baby. Legacy isn't what people leave behind. It's what you choose to do with it. Maya turned toward the window. Geneva shimmered beneath the nightlights, but deep inside her, a new storm was beginning to form. The armored SUV moved quietly along snow-covered mountain roads, leaving Geneva far behind. Maya sat in the back seat, clutching a small backpack, holding the Orion key. Nana Rose sat silently beside her, her eyes filled with worry, though she said nothing. Up front, Dubois spoke softly through the rearview mirror. We're almost there. The house sits near the Italian border. No internet. Off the grid completely. Maya glanced out the window. The Alps stretched out like colossal ice walls, white, endless, breathtaking, in a way that made her shiver. The wooden house sat tucked beneath a mountain slope, humble and isolated in the vast, frozen wilderness. When the car came to a stop, Maya didn't get out right away. She gripped the door handle, her heart pounding like a drumbeat. The cabin door opened. A woman stepped out. Her long, curly hair was unkempt, her face hollow with exhaustion, but her eyes, they looked almost exactly like Maya's. Elena Dubois said softly. Maya stepped out. The two stared at each other. 12 years evaporated in a single, breathless moment. Elena trembled as she approached. She tried to smile, but her lips quivered. Maya gave a small nod. I thought you'd be taller. The words cracked the ice. Elena burst into tears and rushed to embrace her daughter. Maya stood frozen for a beat, then wrapped her arms around her, squeezing tightly, trying to make up for a childhood stolen by silence. Nana Rose joined them, pulling them both close. In that moment, there were no conspiracies, no keys, no Damien Thorn. Just three women torn apart by power, but bound by blood. That night, in the cozy kitchen surrounded by snow, the three of them cooked together. Not much was said. They baked chopped vegetables and listened to the soft crackle of firewood. For the first time, Maya felt a quiet sense of belonging. After dinner, with Nana already asleep, Maya and Eleanor remained by the fireplace. Why did you leave me? Maya asked. Her voice carried no blame, only the weight of needing truth. Eleanor gripped her cup of hot tea tightly. Because if I stayed, they would have killed us both. I couldn't protect you with guns or power. Disappearing was the only way I knew how to keep you safe. And my father Eleanor gave a bitter smile. He took the easier road. He disappeared from the truth, from me, from you. Maya looked down. He tried to come back, in his own way. Silence settled again. Then Elena spoke, her voice as soft as snow sliding off a branch. You don't owe anyone anything, not Julian, not me. But if you choose to fight, I won't leave you again. Maya nodded. Outside, the snow kept falling. But inside that cabin, a quiet alliance had formed between three women who seemed fragile, yet now held the power to shake the world. Morning in the snowy mountains began with a suspicious stillness. The sun had just risen over the Alps, casting a soft pink glow across the frost-covered rooftop. Maya sat on the wooden steps, holding a mug of hot cocoa, eyes tracing the curls of steam rising into the cold air. Julian appeared from a distance, tall but slow-moving, one arm still bandaged. Every step seemed weighted by time and regret. When he reached her, he didn't say a word. He simply sat down beside Maya, leaving a space between them, far enough to respect her boundaries, close enough to begin something. I don't expect forgiveness, he said quietly, eyes fixed on the tree line. I only hope you'll understand. No tears, no drawn-out apologies, just a small wooden box he placed on Maya's knee. She opened it. Inside was a simple silver ring engraved with the Orion constellation on the inner band. It's the engagement ring I never got to give your mother, Julian said. Now I'm giving it to you if you choose to carry on what I started. The roar of engines sliced through the stillness. Maya sprang to her feet. A black helicopter descended into the snowy clearing. The door swung open. Damien Thorne stepped out with two bodyguards in suits and dark glasses. He smiled like it was some casual family reunion. Elena, he nodded, still beautiful as ever. Julian still pretending to be a decent man. Finally, he turned to Maya. And this is the great heir, huh? Elena stepped in front of her daughter. She's not here for your bargaining. Damien smirked, pulling a folder from inside his coat. I'm not here to threaten. I'm here to make an offer. He opened the folder, a full scholarship to any school. Maya wanted a Manhattan apartment for the whole family, lifetime health care for Nana Rose, all in exchange for a meaningless little key. Silence blanketed the clearing. Maya stepped forward. Slowly, each footfall hitting the ground like a declaration. You think I'd choose safety over justice? She asked, her hand gripping the Orion key tightly. Damien narrowed his eyes. Justice is a flexible concept, little girl. Maya looked at her mother, then at Julian, and finally back at Damien. You're wrong. She held the key high. Justice is the bravest choice, even when it scares you the most. No, she said softly, but with a chill that cut through the mountain air. You can't buy me, and you will never buy this legacy. Julian lifted his head. Elena reached for Maya's hand. Nana Rose stood behind them, like a wall of strength. Damien's smirk faltered. The smugness drained from his eyes. He signaled to the helicopter. As he turned to leave, he offered one final line. You just declared war. Maya didn't blink. No, I just chose what's right. The helicopter disappeared behind the ridge. The family stood together in the snowy clearing, no words spoken. They didn't need to speak. They all knew a war was coming. But at least now, they would face it side by side. 1 year later. The Vance Washington Orion Foundation headquarters stood right on the edge of Lake Geneva, its glass facade catching the brilliant light of sunrise. No more storms, no more black helicopters, only light and a new beginning. Inside the main hall, Maya, now 13, dressed in a simple grey suit. Her hair tied back, stepped up to the podium. Her gaze was steady, her hand resting lightly on the Orion key, embedded in the wood. Someone once told me you don't get to choose your family. Maya began, her voice clear and firm. But I've learned you can choose to fight for them. In the audience, Julian smiled quietly. He was no longer the center of the story. He was the support. Elena, in a deep blue dress, sat beside him, eyes never leaving her daughter. Nana Rose, in a classic knit dress, tapped along softly to the applause, tears shimmering in her eyes. This key used to feel like a burden, Maya said, lifting it high. But today, it stands for hope. And we, not just my family, but everyone who believes in justice, will use it to unlock a fairer future. The room erupted in applause, but Maya only offered a small bow, her eyes distant, like she knew this was just the first step. I'm Maya Washington Vance, and my journey is only beginning. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like and subscribe to Toch Story for more inspiring journeys to come.